All right, we are here this evening for a public, I guess, two public hearings. The first is on a text amendment of the zoning ordinance to allow computer-based gaming establishments in the specialized business district. All right, would you like to do a preview?
I'll do a preview real quick. We do have the applicant, Mr. Short, is with us, along with his counsel. He came to us probably a month ago or thereabouts and was interested in opening a computer-based gaming project. He is intending, based on what I understand of the project, that he is wanting to put a vape shop in the Food Line Shopping Center as kind of an accessory use. This would be a secondary use that could be done. The vape shop is legal. We're not here to discuss that because that's just retail. You can sell retail in the shopping center without a problem. The question was computer-based gaming, and we just didn't have a definition, and we just didn't have anywhere in the code where it currently sits. That SB district, if you remember, is where we're asking for the amendment, was a district that was created that encompasses the Food Line Shopping Center and a Walmart shopping center to accommodate some businesses that are located downtown that caused a little bit of an uproar, if you remember. Doesn't include the out parcels like Wendy's and Huddle House, just the shopping centers themselves. The request is that you'll hear tonight, he's requesting to operate a computer-based gaming establishment, a definition of which came from the City of Chesapeake's code, and Tessie found it for us, and that is the definition. And what we're proposing in the first public hearing would be a text amendment to include that definition and to include that activity as a conditional use in the SB district, okay? Depending on the disposition of that, then there's an actual application from Ryan Short, doing business as Players Vape, for a specific application for that particular site. There is a drawing in your packet or a schematic that was part of the lease showing exactly which suite it is at the shopping center. And down there around where the ABC store used to be, down in that neck of the woods, okay? The two public hearings, one is a text amendment, and it would be to the SB district, and the second one would be specific, and the applicant is here to answer questions, sir.
Guys, can I ask something before we go there? This came out of Chesapeake.
The definition came out of the City of Chesapeake.
Do they have any of these businesses established there?
I don't know. I would assume they do, simply because they have it and have addressed it in their zoning ordinance. The one location that I'm familiar with, and Mr. Short shared with me, was in Emporia, City of Emporia. And I've spoken with the City of Emporia's zoning administrators. They've got a city manager that's left, and they've got but Bev Hawthorne from Lunenburg is their economic development director / zoning administrator. And we talked, and she did tell me on the phone today that there is a moratorium on new establishments, and that you can tell me far more than I would know about it. But Mr. Short's activity apparently is a grandfather and was before the action by the city. And why the city took that action, I don't know the history. You can probably share with everybody, but Bev did tell me that Mr. Short's facility in Emporia or Greensville County is in good stead and is still available for operation. It's a little different. She said there were some pool tables and things that were involved. Is that correct? One pool table, okay. So Greensville County is the one that I'm specifically familiar with. I did, because I don't know much about these, I met with Terry Royal, our Commonwealth's attorney. I said, do you know much about these, and do you have any advice and ideas? And Terry was very frank, and she said, and I'll share with you, our Commonwealth's attorney said, we have facilities in the state that are okay, and we have facilities in the state that aren't okay. And oftentimes I think these things can get closed down if they fall afoul of the state code. And she said, the only way for me to tell if they're legal or not is once you get up and operating, then maybe they can do an inspection or come down there and look at them or get an opinion on them. Okay? But she didn't have a legal opinion ahead of time as to whether or not this particular type of gaming, in her opinion, was legal. Okay? That answer your question, Tommy? No? Yes?
Answer the question.
I don't know about the City of Chesapeake, but I do know about Emporia and Greensville County.
All right, Mr. Short, would you like to tell us about your establishment? I would like to open the public hearing, yes.
Yes, sir. My name is Ryan Short. Nice to meet all of you. So what we're trying to open up, this is actually considered a vapor shop. The skilled games are an accessory use with the vapor shop. In order to use these skilled games, you have to purchase a vapor product. So you cannot just come in a store and start playing skilled games without purchasing some type of vapor supply. These businesses are, like he said, in Chesapeake, Portsmouth, Suffolk, Emporia, all throughout North Carolina. There's even other places in Virginia that have them operating as well. When we were discussing what is legal and what is not, as long as these games involve skill or human versus human interaction, they are considered legal in the state of Virginia. Sweepstakes are what are considered illegal. So that is like going into an actual casino where you're hitting a slot machine, it spins, or you're playing blackjack on a computer. Those things are deemed illegal in the state of Virginia.
What kind of games do you have?
These are just like,
fascinated.
they're like arcade games.
Okay.
So, you know, you have a game maybe where one of the games is called, it's called a fish table. Mm-hmm. So you have 8 people that sit around this table, and you have objects that come onto the table, and you either capture them, shoot them, kill them, you know, however it works, and whoever kills those is the one that, you know, wins that percentage of whatever it is, vice versa, you know. So you're actually playing, we could all sit at a table together and play against each other.
What if you only have one person in the shop?
One person can play.
They play against the machine, so to speak.
Pretty much.
Okay.
But most of the time, somebody won't play alone.
I got you.
Just, you know, it takes the fun out of it.
But do you have any educational games like Scrabble?
No, none are really educational. The skill-based games that are like your stand-up machines, they consist of you hit a button and it spins. So say you have to have 3 donkeys in a row. You have to make moves to strategically plan out how to align a straight line. Without making moves or changing, you know, where each thing is, you cannot win. So you have to actually play the game, and it's a skill-based game because the more knowledge you have of it, the better you're going to play it.
And so you win points that are redeemable for more vaping products.
Correct.
Okay.
So it's not a cash payout.
Yeah, I mean, you can do cash payout, you can, but it really just depends on how things go and, you know, of course, what the city prefers or wherever you're located. But majority of the time, you do redemption points.
I don't think we
For
got into
things
that
like
kind of
that.
detail in the definition. Would it be your intention to pay cash payouts or make those available?
I mean, if possible, it would be nice to do.
And you're saying that because these are theoretically skilled events, that because there's some skill involved, that they're legal versus gaming of similar type that would be non-skilled.
Chance. Games of chance are deemed illegal in the state of Virginia.
All right, let me just I'm just doing this for kicks. We have a Texas Hold'em tournament. 10 professionals are at the table. I come onto the table as an extreme amateur. We all put up $100,000. There's $100,000 going to the house. We're going to win $1 million. That would be illegal in the state of Virginia,
Correct.
right? Does it take any skill for those 10 who are professionals, who maybe won tournaments all over the world? Are they skilled players?
They would be skilled players, but the definition of skill in gambling is totally different because anything involving a card is a game of chance. You can't control what card you receive.
All right, let me ask this. The games that you're using, who inspects those games? Does the state of Virginia inspect all of them?
Yes, sir. Usually the state police do. They usually send someone to your store undercover. they come in, they inspect, and if you have any games that are, you can have one game that is a game of chance. That one game is all it takes, and they will take everything out of there and close you right and then and there on the spot. So you have to stay in the skill-based category.
Are the machines all stamped that they have been inspected or not? Is that something that's done?
But really, they come in and inspect them. It's not like you have the state has a committee you go through that inspects each game that goes into a
Not
facility.
like somebody checks weights in the state of
That's
Virginia.
right. You know,
You don't have
it's-
anybody set up to check the gaming
Is the game
operation.
commission govern what you're doing?
No,
They're totally separate, that's not part of what you got there.
no, sir.
Philip referred to a moratorium in Emporia. Are you familiar with what's
Yes.
going on there?
So Emporia put a moratorium because one opened, then another opened, then another opened, and next thing you know, there were 5 of these opening. So Emporia put the moratorium up to halt more and more businesses opening, doing this.
It wasn't because of his particular
Right.
operation, and his operation per Bev Hawthorne was basically grandfather. It was one of those
That's right,
operating.
previous to
already
the
in there.
How long have you operated in
in
Emporia?
Emporia. The one that involved the pool hall, it was an old pool hall, right over a year. And then I have part of another one that's been operating for 3.5 years.
We do have, just so you know, we do have some pretty stringent regulations about pool halls in Blackstone as one of
Well, yeah,
those
we're not-
oddities here. So if there is a component like that, let us know ahead of time. We'll give you what you need for.
Okay.
All right. And I assume when the definition, Philip, when it says lawfully conducted, that means, I guess it's pursuant to code section 18.2-333. Okay. All right.
If you're gonna include the state code and subsequent
Yeah,
revisions, you know the terminology. So you don't have to keep changing it every single time.
sure.
The General Assembly change.
As amended.
As amended. Beautiful. That's correct.
Okay. Any other questions for Mr. Short?
And truthfully, you can, if anyone does have any other concerns or wants to go see what these are like, you can literally stop at any truck stop in the state of Virginia. And it'll, they have those games in there. They're very similar to those.
Okay. All right.
I guess we'll see those, both the public hearings, I don't know.
Oh, Mr. Carlo may want to speak.
No,
Okay. Then,
If we declare those to be both of the public hearings and we're satisfied with that, then we can deliberate, but remember, 2 full motions and actions need to be taken.
Sure.
To dispose of both matters. Now, if the first one fails, you don't have to go to the second one because you can't apply for something that was not included as a text amendment.
all right, oh, gotcha.
Do that
Okay.
first one. and-
Right. We'll close the public hearings. Oh, is there any discussion? Anybody?
No,
No? Okay.
I won't be using your services.
Because they don't have Scrabble?
Yeah, you
We'll
get
get Scrabble game
you
for
get
you.
that Scrabble machine
Scrabble
in.
machine.
Yeah, I probably won't be frequenting it myself, but it doesn't give me any heartburn.
We did not receive any notice or complaint or comment from any of the adjoining property owners. They're adjoining property owners in that area, mostly commercial anyhow,
Sure.
so the Walmart owners didn't contact us.
Nor Schul's, nor.
No issues. Now, we notified the,
We notify the property owners, I think.
Ah, right.
You might not own, yeah, they,
Okay.
the property owners get notified. Kenston got a notice because they own the property in behind, all that sort of thing, but we didn't hear any negative commentary. It's almost a situation, we've heard stories that the police that shuts them down and do all those kind of things. I think there was one in Amelia that was shut down. But I think it's also a situation that you're innocent until guilty.
Right.
And so you gotta look at it first, it's not guilty, and then you gotta prove you're innocent, so.
The
It's in
only,
the right location. If it were in another location, I don't know what the proper answer, but
Agreed.
if there's a correct location for you to be and make an easy decision, the SB district at the Food Line Shopping Center is probably the right place to do
will
it.
you, The- will you be in there all the time? Somebody will be there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
The only concern I have, Mr. Short, if you are giving out payment, if you will, instead of vape products or payment, it only concerns me that the rumor would be that there's a lot of cash in this building. And that would be a great place to come to find some cash because it's going to take the police a little while to get out there. That's what concerns me about winning the game in a cash payout. Because we've seen it with lottery, lottery locations that people knew there was a lottery cash money in there and it was hard for the police to get out there. It's the perfect place to hold up. Your business doesn't really bother me. It bothers me what could actually happen with that type of thing.
Well, because it's a conditional use permit, it's shopping centers, the parking's okay, the lighting in the parking lot's okay, all those kind of things. But with a conditional use permit, you can also ask some questions about what are your hours of operation? Are you gonna be open at midnight? Are you gonna be open at 11 o'clock? If you have security concerns, the later you're open, probably the
Yeah.
less populated that shopping center is gonna be.
Yeah.
And Mr. Short may be able to answer that question, right?
The way that the facilities we have operate is when it gets dark, these doors are locked. So you have doors to where you come up to the door, there's a camera that sees you, and it's buzzed for you to come in. Also security, we've always done security. In Emporia, we have police officers that get overtime working in the facility on the weekends, which at Emporia, they allow you to operate 24 hours a day. Every location's different. I think Portsmouth and Chesapeake, they cut it off, I think, at 4 a.m. But most places require you to have someone there, during those times of the day, just for safety
What will
precautions.
your hours of operation be? I don't know that I saw that.
We have not discussed that yet.
Okay.
Do you have a proposed
We
set of hours?
would really prefer, I checked with other businesses. I know the Huddle House stays open till 12. I think the Walmart is 12 on the weekends.
Food Line may be 11 o'clock on certain days too.
11 o'clock. And we were proposing 12 o'clock, because you have other businesses open at that same time frame. Because to be honest with you, it's really not a point to have it open all night.
Right.
And, a
Agreed.
lot of times you get that late, you are asking for.
You're asking for
You're
trouble.
asking for trouble.
Yeah.
And we've done it long enough that, that's not really our concern. And the opening hours, of course, would probably be what all the businesses beside us did. If it's 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock, open at 8 o'clock in the morning, close at 12.
I'm fascinated by Portsmouth closing at 4 a.m. Why bother?
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah. Yeah. What? Yeah. Okay.
Would you be agreeable to that being a condition?
Yes.
Sir, that's fine. Yes, sir.
8 a.m. to 12 p.m.
Yes, sir.
Or 12 a.m. excuse me.
All right.
That's the only concern I have.
Okay.
I don't want to put you in jeopardy, but I don't want to put an older lady like myself shopping at Food Lion at 11 o'clock in jeopardy of someone trying to, knows there's cash over here. I know they know there's cash in Food Lion too, but that's my only concern is the security around it with the impression this business is going to give others. Maybe that's a better way of saying it. It gives the impression that there's a lot of money available to me.
Would you be proposing security on the weekends?
We could definitely do, and we would do that anyway.
And if
So-
you're comfortable with that, perhaps, at least on the weekends, that could be sage some of your concerns for security, that you would provide security at certain hours on Friday nights, or Thursday, Friday, Saturday nights, I guess, or whatever the peak hours.
Most of the individuals that use this are not my age. We'll sit at home and play PlayStation 4 with our buddies. Most of the people that play these games are mid-30s, late 30s to 50, 60. And actually, it's that right, and we see more females than we do with males.
Really?
And, they come in together, they play, they have fun, go eat dinner and go home, things like that. So, and that's how Emporia operates. All the ladies from the golf course, they play golf during the day, then they go play for a few hours, or go play for an hour or two. They go eat lunch or dinner and they go, so it's.
And I didn't read this thoroughly, and I apologize. Alcohol is not permitted with gambling. Well, I know it's not called gambling, but gaming.
Skilled games.
Skilled gaming, excuse me. Okay, I didn't think so.
Yeah, you can,
Okay.
and plus alcohol would bring that
Yeah.
crowd into it. So
Yeah. Okay,
definitely no alcohol.
okay. I'm a little bit more comfortable with that.
So do we want to add something about security?
I would like to.
We're gonna have it. We're gonna have it regardless on the weekends.
Why don't we say, what time would you start on the weekend?
I would probably 9 o'clock. Well, when this time changes, though,
It gets dark
5
at 7
o'clock.
in the winter.
Right. So when the time changes, of course, we'll move it down to right at dark. Anytime it's dark, have them in 30 minutes beforehand.
From sunset to midnight. Friday, Saturday?
Yes, sir.
Agreeable?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, we've always discussed that, and he's had it at other places, some are undercover, some of them in uniform, they come through there, because we wanna
Right.
make sure that there's
And-
always a
and we-
presence. But at the same time, having it from dusk to closing, whatever that time may be, is what's always been.
I think better dusk because of time change.
Yes.
Right.
So you don't have to adjust your.
Yeah.
We discussed that, he just forgot that as part of the presentation.
Right.
And my job is to make sure he stays
Legal.
very legal to everything, including what your conditions may be. And if I may, he didn't say it this way, but it will be plenty noted that it's a alcohol-free, drug-free zone. That's something that I don't tolerate, he doesn't tolerate, and I don't believe that the town should be subjected to individuals doing that. So that's gonna be the way we operate in this premise about where all the stores operate.
Okay. Tom, you look like you're mulling over a motion.
No, I'm going to sleep.
Perhaps you can prevent that by mulling over a motion.
And again, the first motion would be simply to add that definition and that item of the conditional use in the SB.
So you want a motion?
A motion to that effect,
You
yes.
Take the 18.2,
Would you like to add that in the definition and as amended?
Yes. Yeah.
And we're putting section 18.2, 325, I think it was that Ryan shared with us, and that would, yeah, I think the 35, or excuse me, the 325 would cover you. Yeah,
That's right.
that kind of would cover it, as amended. Because the 33 only talks about contests of speed between men's fowl and animals. You can have a horse race against
Yeah.
a person. That's legal. So we amend the definition.
Person.
Lawfully conducted games per 18.2-325 of the Code of Virginia as amended.
I think it should, yeah, it should be. Yeah,
We-
Okay.
Approximately that, but we understand, and we'll include this in the section.
All
I'll
right.
make a motion that we do that.
Second,
I'll second.
all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Okay. Now, that brings us to our second item of business, which is, do we approve Mr. Short's application for a conditional use permit to operate?
And from the discussion, I think there would be two conditions that I've
Yeah.
heard, and no later than midnight operation, okay? And my experience with the definition of operation, we just finished this with Jason Argo, who's doing the mechanical shop. Operations mean open to the public. If Brian's down there counting money, if he's
Right.
down there doing his books, he's down, that's not hours of operation.
Right.
Open to the public would be the
Right.
definition of hours of operation. So somebody doesn't complain about you being down there.
Right.
Now, should we have anything in here as conditional use, if it is found that there is any illegal gambling, that we have the right
To revoke the zoning
to,
bylaw.
to revoke
I
this?
think the state police will take care of it for you,
I-
but I think that it would,
We
it's not a
can.
bad thing that, failure to abide by state
State code.
code will result in a
We're fine with that.
revocation
I
of a.
think that would be a safety mechanism for us to some extent. It
Agreed.
doesn't protect us totally, but I think we're at least saying that we expect to have a legal operation.
And expect to be backed up
Second thing
by,
was security personnel, is that right?
And then the security should be provided, security personnel should be provided on Fridays and Saturdays.
Dusk
From
till.
dusk until closing.
All
You
right.
guys, the one that Tommy came up with, the failure to abide by state code governing computer-based gaming establishments will result in a revocation of the.
Conditional use permit, yeah.
And I would think that would also, if it is any illegal gambling, that we not only would be pulling the conditional use permit for the gaming operation, but we would be pulling, we would have to relook at this entire retail establishment.
It may inspire that, but we'll cross that bridge when we
Do
get
you
to
see
it.
where I'm heading? I mean, if you
Yeah,
have,
sure.
if you have, if we're doing this on a conditional basis, we want to make sure that we've covered our bases on that, I think, too. But anyway, I will let y'all
Okay.
debate that a little bit.
So will that be part of
Don't know,
the motion or not?
don't know. What do
We
y'all,
have three so far that I think are, closing should be no later than midnight. Security should be provided on Fridays and Saturdays, dusk until closing. We're good. And the third one was failure to comply with Code of Virginia regulations
gaming
in regards to
regulations.
computer-based gaming establishment will result in a revocation of the conditional use.
and that, would that apply to the entire establishment is where I'm heading. How do you
I think you're
do,
gonna have to make that
Well, you'd be-
specific, because
How do you-
retail is legal, and there's no conditional use
Yeah.
permit for it.
right, but how do you do one? He's asking for, can you separate the two?
We're not here talking about the vaping, but I guess you have a fairly broad ability to add conditions. and push conditions.
I just want to make sure that we're laying this out properly.
I think Mr. G may have an opinion on closing a vape shop for a computer. I don't speak for you, but.
We're doing a conditional use on the property, am I
Yeah.
correct?
Conditional use will be on the property. It's not specific to Mr. Short. That property will now be able to support, whether it's you or Players Vape or you sell your business to somebody else, that zoning is
For the
transferable
business.
on that particular location, 1531.
That's what I'm thinking.
so my interpretation of what you're saying is if it's found that the gaming portion is breaking some codes, laws, whatever, then the vape shop, the whole thing should be closed
I
as
don't know, I
the
think it would depend on
location.
It's only a class 3 misdemeanor for a violation.
Startups is a criminal act,
Uh-huh.
if he does that. But secondarily, the condition itself is being placed on the computer-based gaming portion of it.
Yeah.
The retail itself is perfectly legal.
Right.
So the revocation of the condition itself is something that can come from you all, and he would have to shut down the computers-based side of it. So whether he chooses to run the vape part of it,
We have no
as a
control of that,
basic-
do we?
Exactly, as a basic retail shop,
Right.
that's up to him if he's making enough money to do that. But if you revoke the conditional part of it, it shuts the computers down totally anyway.
Right. Okay, I'll go along with that.
Okay.
So 3 conditions?
It's fine.
Yes.
Not a law.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Would somebody like to put that in the form of a motion?
I'll move, so move. Jennifer, you have it worded, I'm sure.
I will.
Thank you.
Second.
All right, to grant the conditional use permit pursuant to the three conditions. All right, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Good. All right.
One more thing before you leave.
Do we have to approve some minutes, by the way?
Yes, I want you to print those real quick, because
Okay.
last time I didn't remember the dates, so those two dates and those two dates.
Okay.
I gave you a copy of the minutes, and I emailed the rest of them to you.
Right, you got them, uh-huh.
See you.
Bye, thank you.
Thank y'all.
We have 30 seconds of time, I promise.
Let me get the minutes.
You've never done
We'll
anything
keep you all
30
on.
seconds.
We're good enough.
You've never done 30 seconds.
Never happens.
It'll never happen. I'll put you on the clock right now.
So did everybody review my minutes?
I did,
I
yes,
did.
I did not say anything.
Okay. So there's somebody motion.
I so moved to accept the minutes, and I do not remember the dates, I apologize.
June 19th and March 26th of
Second.
2018.
Second.
Oh, well, nowadays, it's a small town, everybody probably knows exactly what's going on. But the Austin Woods development at the Gravity Farm was approved based on the same recommendation that you guys have made.
Okay.
We've met with Southside Electric. Southside Electric still wants $450 an hour over there, and they didn't get off of that. But I think what I can tell you is what I told the Finance Committee is that the gentleman that owns, or intends to own the property and do this development would be agreeable to pay for half. Finance Committee want to know what Frank would pay, and Lonnie Smith, because they will go be incidental customers as well. I think Frank is gonna have a pretty hefty bill to get it, because we're not gonna take it to Frank's building, we're gonna stop at the water tank at the corner. Everybody's on their own from now on. Our industrial park's covered, the Gravity Farm will be covered. Lonnie Smith, incidentally, the wire would come right by his building, so he would be covered. And Frank's cost, he's gotta get it to his building. That shouldn't be the town doing it, he's gotta deal with Southside. We got it to there, Frank, you take it the rest of the way. And Lonnie Smith, I went and met with him, who's the gentleman that owns structural steel components, structural components. He's already purchased a series of phase converters. So he's already got 3 phase in his building. It's expensive, and he had to spend a lot of money to get there, but he already has 3 phase power in his building because he installed equipment on his end of the meter. So he didn't feel like he was prepared to pony up a bunch of money. Okay? So we're working on that. We're also working on sewer. At the same time as what's going on in the Gravity Farm, remember, Nottoway Commons is still there. And Sherman Vaughn has come to see me, and the county is keenly interested in moving forward with a tobacco application that would increase our wastewater treatment capacity at the plant by up to 10%. A 2 million gallon a day plant, we've asked the Tobacco Commission to provide, I believe, $180,000 towards a renovation at the wastewater plant. We're doing an upgrade now, which would additional recirculation in our trickling filters that would get us an additional 200,000 gallons if our permit does not need to be modified. Okay? Now, both Nottoway Commons and the Gravity Farm property, they want commitment from the town that they'll hook them on. We've given that, but they want commitments that the capacity for treatment is there and the capacity in the pipes are there. And so we've gone back and done some evaluation on the pipe sizes, and the initial phase, the initial commercial phases over here, not the single family that would be scattered down the back, the initial commercial, I think can be done for a relatively low amount of money. Okay? I'm gonna share that with council. But there may have to be some cost share. The town will take a role, upgrading pump stations perhaps and all that sort of thing. So, but what I'm gonna tell council is, I don't think it's fair that we go out and borrow money, raise rates. This is gonna have to be done with available cash on hand, what the town has, and to do this. But I think there's gonna be an appreciable amount of new force main that has to be built between Rocky Bump Pump Station and Fort Pickett, 3,000 feet, thereabouts, in the first phase.
So will there be any boundary adjustment?
My recommendation to council is yes, you should boundary adjust the Nottoway Commons property.
So they've agreed to go ahead and allow them to have water and sewage, and why?
My recommendation to them was, I think you need to include that inside the town limits, and I think you need to extend the water and sewer service. I take responsibility for the recommendation, but I don't think the town needs to set a precedent where we're not expanding our water and sewer systems. Our water and sewer systems are the future of the revenue stream of the town, okay? But I'm convinced that it also needs to be inside the town limits to leaven the playing field on the tax base. You're paying the same taxes as this is.
I don't think you can do anything unless you have a boundary adjustment, and a boundary
Oh, agreed.
adjustment ought to be done first.
I think it's essential that the boundary adjustment take place. And I think the county's agreed to, and I think that we would start working towards that.
Who would pay the expenses for the boundary adjustment?
You know, I don't know. They're not gonna contest
That's
it.
not too bad.
They've agreed to not contest it, so we don't have that legal cost. I think it's a filing for the most part. I would imagine the town, because I can't say the county has, because we've never discussed it with the county.
I think you should discuss that with the county. I
Sure.
think it's their bailiwick. And they're the ones that created this.
We cannot allow our system to get boxed in. I
Yeah.
hate to say that, and it's out of town, but I do think the annexation of the property is absolutely part of what we do. Some on council disagree with it. Some elected folks in town don't think it's such a good idea to annex it, because we get a 50% premium on our water and sewer
If they're out of town, yeah.
if they're out of town. But remember something.
Yeah.
We learned this from the city of Fairfax. If you have a city or town with a defined boundary of taxpayers and you extend your utilities, we cannot use those premiums. They were charging, I believe, double in Fairfax City to residents of Fairfax County. And they were using the money for general fund activities, buying buses, renovating schools, building libraries, all those guys. That cannot be done. That 50% premium has to be put right back into the sewer system, so, or the water system. It has to go back in the water and sewer utility. It cannot be used for Jennifer's big raise, or for the planning commission to get a big
Bonus.
bus to ride around and any of that kind of stuff. It's gotta be specific.
Or a
for-
can of peanuts for Christmas.
Yeah.
Or Rick Nicholas has-
Can the town handle developments in two
I
different
miss my
areas?
peanuts.
Can we handle it?
Yeah.
I think the market is gonna handle itself. I think,
Yeah,
I don't know if there's room for 2,000 hotel rooms or 1,000 hotel rooms or even 800 hotel rooms. Fast C has mentioned 350 rooms, and I think that's the benchmark of what Fast C believes that they can keep occupied. I think the market will dictate which one goes and how
I
fast.
do too.
and-
That's why I'm wondering,
Will things follow Fast C though, and be able to take some of the excess, if you will, if something follows?
But the
Things
beauty
start
of all
following.
this is, it's all good problems to have. How many times
Yeah.
have guys sat around and talked about, God, we got too many
Yeah.
projects?
it's good, except for the fact that it is gonna put more strain on your police department. You're gonna have to increase staff, and you're gonna have more in the service area. The fire department's gonna have to have a bigger role. The emergency services are gonna have to have a bigger role.
Water treatment.
And you're gonna have to hire additional policemen, because if you've gotta service a development out here and a development out here,
Yeah.
and given the scenario, you're gonna have to do a lot of hiring. The only thing that worries me,
But I would rather have I'm more concerned about paying for general fund activities, therefore I would prefer to have a more robust tax base
oh, I
rather
agree,
than a higher water and sewer.
Correct.
Oh,
Only
absolutely.
put in the water and sewer.
absolutely agree with that. The only question I have is on this project out here in the county. And the reason I question that project quite a bit
Oh, yeah.
is they didn't come to the town on the front end of this saying what they wanted to do, did they?
They did not. We found
So
out
what
about
did
it.
what did they tell you they were gonna do with that property on the front end? What did they tell you that they knew when they sold the property, when they were asked?
I met with, we had a meeting out there at Fort Pickett. I believe Eric Nash was with me. We went out there, and Mr. Gomez, who's with Nottaway Collins LLC, which is based out of Miami, down southwest Miami, where I went to school. It was gonna be a appreciably large number of units. I haven't seen the revised drawings. I don't even know what that is. I do know they've provided MacBug with their sewer anticipated flows.
But on the front end of this, what did the county say that the land was being purchased for?
I don't think the county disclosed much of that. We certainly didn't know until we had the opportunity to sit down with Mr. Billman.
Yeah, see, I think they were asked, what is this? And their comment coming back was, we don't know.
I think they may have known.
And
I remember
that
all that, yeah.
bothered me. Now, because they did know. And this other, I also noticed, the thing that bothers me too is they didn't bother to show any land inside the town limits. And they could have shown a lot of land inside the town limits, but nothing was shown inside town.
Well, I think that John Procyse does the showing. I know our industrial park is kind of crippled with this power issue, okay? I wasn't with John when he first showed it to these folks, and
Right.
I don't know what his route was. We would love for the county to make sure that all of our properties are shown every time that they're here. We
Yeah,
would like
'cause
them to
What,
understand.
what concerns me about that is, for some reason, they don't think that the town of Blackstone pays any taxes to the county. And by the way, the property inside the town
I can
limits,
assure them,
the taxes,
I do.
the taxes going out of any property inside the town limits goes to Nottaway County as well. So what I couldn't figure out is, I know it's the sale of a piece of property, but that's minor in comparison to the potential taxes they could have taken in. Just thought that the way it was handled was not,
Well, that's the way the county is. They want you to
They're pretty quiet about
do
that
stuff
yeah.
for them, but then when it comes to the town, doing something for the town.
well, what they've done on this is,
They want
they
that.
have sold this property to somebody in Florida to build on. Now they expect for us to take it in, and then they also expect for us to service that property by providing police and fire protection. And they did it without telling anyone what they wanted to do. If they'd come up on the front end of this and said, this is where we're heading, what do y'all think? Then I would feel better about it. But, and I'll make it clear what I think. I would, and it's not, doesn't make any difference. But I think giving them water and sewage, I think the Tobacco Commission can get money from the Tobacco Commission anyway, but I think giving them water and sewage, I just don't see it. I just don't see it. They did this without, they also sold the property and evidently inferred to the buyer that we were gonna supply the water and sewage. I don't think the town council had agreed to do that.
The formal vote from council was just last month.
Right.
Now, council
That's
talked
right.
about it a couple of times, but there had never been a vote from council to hook them on until July.
No, so what
16th.
did the county tell the buyer?
But it's probably,
I think you do.
don't worry about it, I think it's all gonna work out there.
But you know what I'm saying. I didn't like the way that
Yeah.
scenario was handled, so I'll leave it at that.
Other items that you'll see coming, there is a Board of Zoning Appeals request for a townhouse development on Bird Road. If you remember where Gus Mitchell's mother-in-law's house got smushed by a tree and there's an old White House next door, there's a 6-unit townhouse being proposed right there, and they have a side setback issue that they gotta get. Now,
okay.
item number 2 that you'll see, Frankie Williamson has purchased a piece of property that fronts on Main and Oak Street, and he has submitted a proposal, and he meets the setback requirements to build 2 duplexes that would be virtually back to that little small apartment building that he
Frank's
did.
old property.
Those little brick ones that,
Yeah, but Frank Yancey's across from.
yeah. So you'll see a couple you'll see the lots have been started to be cleaned. And
It's on Oak Street where his
Okay.
apartments
That's not
were,
zoned for
and then-
that?
and that's on-
It is zoned for that, so he doesn't have to come to
If
us.
he had gone and done townhouses, he would not have room to do it, because a townhouse specifically requires a 30-foot setback from an adjoining use that is different. And Hinton's house is an adjoining use, and it's a single-family
So
residence.
he's doing condos?
But he's allowed, no, he's doing 2 duplexes.
Duplex,
I
okay,
would dare
I'm
say, I
sorry.
haven't seen them, but I suspect they're probably look somewhat similar to the one up on North Main Street, somewhat similar. Design-wise. And he can put them in there, he's got the square footage to do the 4 units, and he's gonna separate the 2 units.
But we need a variance over here on Bird.
He's requested a variance over there.
He's not doing those.
Huh?
He's not doing those at
Who?
Bird.
Frankie's not. The request has come from Rick Byers, the same gentleman that's doing Rabbit Farm. He's-
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Investing in Blackstone.
He's vested in Blackstone. He believes in Blackstone. He believes in the
Duplex
market.
there.
Okay. Those are projects, and you'll see that ad in the paper. And obviously, tomorrow morning, or as soon as possible, we need to get ad for this in the paper as well. And we'll be able to handle it, I believe, at the August meeting, because we're not meeting till the fourth Monday. So we have time to get the paper. Okay, that's all I got. I'm sorry.
Your 30 seconds are up.
Yep.
Questions there?
Are you,
Yeah.
are you ready to adjourn?
We are ready to adjourn. Put it-
Thank you.
I don't think we need a motion, do we?
Oh, heads up.